Alright, so last week I had to go to Dothan, Alabama. Weather was nice and it's a good hour plus drive for me, so I popped the top off the death trap, took a cruise. While I was in Dothan, I met a couple of cool mini truckers. That was a good day. Ended up at a friend's house, stayed a little longer than I needed to stay. By the time I came home, it was good and dark. I made it about 2 miles from the house when I had blue lights in the rearview mirror. So I got my alibi straight, pulled over to the right. I got my driver's license ready, and I waited for the officer. The reason I pulled you over is because you had no lights on the back of this truck. I don't know what you did, but they're working now. Probably need to get that checked out. It's an old truck. It was after the traffic stop that I realized what I did that made the tail lights start working. You see, when I got pulled over, I put the truck in park, reached up and turned the headlights off, but left the parking lights on. But it wasn't until after the traffic stop that I figured out what I did that made the lights start working again. So that told me there's a problem in that switch. So let's replace a headlight switch in a first-gen S-10. All right, in order to make this happen, you're going to need a number 2 Phillips head, a number 1 Phillips head, and a small flathead. I'll explain that in just a second. Under the dash, under this little panel right here, you're going to find 2 Phillips head, number 2 Phillips head screws. So we're going to pull those out. They're not very long. And then we're going to put them somewhere where we won't lose them, hopefully. Pull out at the bottom, pull down, that'll pull that out from behind it. Now I wish I could show you yeah, there you go. The headlight switch has a squeeze clip where you squeeze it on the back side and just work that off. But the dimmer switch has a tab that sticks out, and the clip from the harness. Hey, get in there. Then you can work that off. This came off of another truck, but you can see the tab I was talking about that requires sticking a screwdriver up underneath it just so that you can get this dimmer switch plug off. And this is where you need a number 1 Phillips head screw, because there are 4 screws on these tabs right there. So we're going to pull those out. Now understand that what they're screwed into is obviously going to be plastic. They're not very long screws, they're small screws. So when you put them back in, you don't want to strip it out. That might actually be slightly smaller than a number 1, but I don't know. Number 1 works. All right, so we're going to work that out. Now your memory might be better than mine, but I'm going to mark this spot right here to designate the side of this metal plate that the levers, or whatever you want to call them, where they stick through. And the reason is, once you get this out, come on. This is a lot more difficult than the last one I did. There we go. All right. Unless you're paying attention and you remember, you might not realize that This is the side with the mark on it that should have the levers. So we put it back in the way it came out, push it to, then we feed it back into place and put our screws in. And again, don't strip these out. They're screwed into plastic. Getting the screws put back in these 4 locations is more difficult than everything else involved in this. Now, I will say that these switches are much stiffer than the factory switches, but this is 30 years old and this is brand new, so I guess it's sort of expected. I don't like the action of the switch quite so much as that, but we can work with it. And if it works, that's all that matters. And of course, everything goes back in the same way it came out. Clip that in place. Is that the right direction? Well, it's dummy proofed. You can only put it on one way. Put that there, boom. Throw a couple screws in it. Don't forget to number 2 that. Nope, come on. There we go. It makes me think I missed that clip, and I did. Ah. The clip is not in front of, there we go. I'm sure my head got in the way. There we go, that's snug. Nah, the action on that isn't as good as I would like, but as long as it works. That's all there is to it. It's not a difficult job to do. Hope this helps you if you ever find yourself in a position where you need to replace the headlight switch on a first gen S-10. By the way, when I got home, I called down to my sort of local AutoZone, had them order me a switch, and here's the part number. I don't know how to throw anything away, so I put the old one in the box, and I'm gonna hang on to it just in case I can clean it up and make it work better. Never know. Peace, love, and mini trucks.